So our next category of microorganisms is protozoa. Protozoas are also said most primitive organisms. Why they are said most primitive organisms? That is because it is said that the first living cell that has been arised on the earth must be, or it is supposed that it was protozoan type of cell. That is why they are also called most primitive organisms. They can be unicellular or they live in colonies also. That means these protozoans are not multicellular, but they look like multicellular because they live in the colonies. That means at a single place, millions of protozoans, millions of unicellular protozoans could get gathered and they look like a multicellular organism, but actually they are the colonies of these unicellular protozoans. They move by cilia, flagella and with the help of pseudopodia also. When these microorganisms or when these protozoans live in aquatic environment, they move or they locomote with the help of cilia. Cilia are small hair-like structures grown on the body of microorganisms like this, and flagella is a thread-like structure like this grown on the body of the microorganisms. Pseudopodia are the structures which are made by the changes in the cell membrane of these organisms. When these cell membranes move or change their structures, they form the pseudopodia. Pseudopodias are used for locomotion by amoebas. May cause disease. Some of these protozoans may also cause disease. In fact, most of the waterborne protozoans cause diseases in human beings and in other animals also. For example, if we see amoeba, I have drawn the diagram of amoeba here. Amoeba is the example of protozoan, aquatic protozoan. Paramecium is also the same. This is the diagram of paramecium. Plasmodium is a disease causing microorganisms. You have heard about the disease malaria. It is a very common disease in India and it is caused by the Plasmodium protozoan, which is present inside the female Anopheles mosquito. So next category of microorganisms is viruses. These viruses are also called acellular microorganisms. They are called acellular because they lack a proper cell. A proper cell should have a cell wall or cell membrane. Inside it should have cytoplasm, nucleus and other cell organelles. But all of these things are not present in viruses, but they only have a genetic material which could be RNA or DNA or both inside any virus, which is enclosed by a coat of protein. That is the structure of virus. They are present in crystal forms outside the living organisms. There is a debate that viruses are living organisms or non-living organisms. So the answer is inside the living organisms, inside the host, they are living organisms, and outside the host or outside the living organism, they are present only in the form of crystals. They also cause diseases. The viruses are very harmful for even humans, even plants, even animals. To all the living organisms, these viruses are very harmful because they cause different types of disease and which are very hard to treat. These viruses are so much microscopic or so much small that they can be seen only with the help of electron microscope. The simple microscope or the compound microscope is not able to show us these viruses. Electron microscopes are the most advanced type of microscope. Only these type of microscopes can be used to see viruses. Examples of viruses, the most recently you are hearing about it, coronavirus. Poliovirus, this poliovirus with the help of polio vaccine is eradicated from India. And rhinovirus, it is also a very common virus. You have seen that somebody is suffering from cold and flu. This cold and flu is caused by this rhinovirus. So the subcategories of microorganisms is mycoplasma and bacteriophages. Mycoplasmas are actually bacteria-like structures which lacks the cell wall, and because they lack the cell wall, it is very hard to treat these microorganisms. Bacteriophages are those viruses which infect bacteria. Yes, bacteria can also be affected with the viruses, not only higher organisms. Okay, now we will see the benefits of microorganisms in the form of economic importance. First, we will see the importance or benefits of microorganisms in our food industry. In this, I have included at the industrial level benefits also and at the domestic level benefits also. So, first is for making curd. At domestic and at industrial level also, the lactobacillus bacteria is utilized to make curd from the milk. Flavoring agent, flavoring of butter, some bacteria are there which are used to flavorize the cheese or the butter. Making wine, vinegar and alcohol. These are the alcoholic beverages which are made with the help of yeast. The sanitizers, the alcohol based sanitizers which you are using right now nowadays are also made with the help of yeast. Cheese is made with the help of lactic acid bacteria or yeast. Preparation of dough, if we have to make any bread, cake or the idli, dosa, these kind of dishes are made with a dough which is used to make with the help of yeast. Now we will see medicinal use of microorganisms. Three types of medicinal use of microorganisms we will study. First is in the preparation of antibiotics. Antibiotics are specific types of medicine which are utilized to stop the infection or cure the infection of bacteria. There are different types of antibiotics which are already synthesized: penicillin, streptomycin, erythromycin and many more. Second is in preparation of vaccine. Vaccines are specific substances or specific solutions which are given in a prior of the infection. That means they are the precaution for the infections. Smallpox, cholera, polio vaccines are already made. Right now scientists are very hardly working to make the vaccine for the coronavirus. Synthesis of vitamins. Vitamins are very important for all our biological activities. So, vitamin B complex is synthesized from a bacteria which is called E. coli. This bacteria is also present in human and other animals' intestine. So, the third is industrial use. In industries, tanning of leather is done with the help of some bacteria. In leather industries, to make any specific ornamental substance or anything, we have to soften the leather first of all. So, to softening of leather is done by some kind of bacteria which is called tanning of leather. Next is ratting of fibers. For example, there are jute fibers. If we will apply these, we have to make bundles of these jutes which have been taken directly from the plants, and we will keep them in a water containing bacteria. These bacteria will digest the outer coverings and losing the fibers, so we can get jute fiber easily with the help of these bacteria. So the microorganisms can also be used as disposal of our waste materials. For example, sewage disposal. There are a lot of sewage which is being released from the home, from the industries. That means at industrial level as well as at domestic level, a lot amount of sewage is being released every day. So where does this sewage goes? This sewage is treated with some aerobic and anaerobic bacteria in large sewage treatment plants. What these bacteria do with the sewage? This sewage contains a lot of organic compounds which, if released in the environment directly, could be very harmful to other organisms including humans. So these bacteria breaks these organic compounds present in that sewage and converts them into inorganic substances. These inorganic substances are not harmful to the environment, and even these inorganic substances can also be utilized as manures or fertilizers. Second, they also produce biogas. In most of the villages, the source of energy, so the source of cooking fuel is biogas, because a lot of cattle, a lot of animal livestock is present in village area. So what people do, they collect the cow dung in a pit and they produce, and with the help of the bacteria present in that cow dung, the biogas is produced. This biogas really contains mostly the methane gas. That is why these bacteria which release biogas are also called methanogens. Next use of microorganisms is environmental cleaning. These microorganisms on their own keeps our environment clean and regulated in a way that they decompose dead matters. Whenever any plant or any animal dies, it starts rotting, it starts spoiling. This is the reaction of microorganisms, some bacteria or fungi. What these microorganisms do, that they all again decompose, or we can say break down the organic matters present in the body of these organisms, and they convert them into inorganic components. These inorganic components are mixed with the soil, so they also recycle nutrients. For example, if any plant is there, if this plant is died, it has to be worked upon by microorganisms. It will be decomposed. The inorganic substances released from the decomposition will get mixed into the soil itself, and when new plants will grow in that soil, those nutrients will be absorbed by those new plants. So the microorganisms also help in recycling of nutrients. They also increase soil fertility by the process which is called nitrogen fixation. There are many nitrogenous bacteria because plants cannot absorb the atmospheric nitrogen. So these nitrogenous bacteria present in the soil or in the roots of the plants absorb that atmospheric nitrogen, convert it into nitrates, nitrites, and any some other substances. So these nitrogens, these forms of nitrogens, now absorbed by the plants. So the next economic importance of microorganism is fixing the nitrogen. That means making this environmental or atmospheric nitrogen into usable forms. This can be done by these three methods. First is atmospheric nitrogen fixation. This atmospheric nitrogen fixation is done in a process that, for example, see, if nitrogen is present in atmosphere, because of lightning, because of electric discharges, this nitrogen, this atmospheric nitrogen will be combined with the oxygen present in the environment, and then as a result it will make oxides of nitrogen. These oxides of nitrogen will, when mixed into the water, the rainwater, will form nitric acid. This is also called as acid rain. When the nitrites or when the nitrogen components are present in a very large amount in the environment because of pollution, this type of acid rains takes place. When with rainwater, this nitric acid comes into the earth, it get mixed with different types of salts and makes different types of alkalines. Second is biological nitrogen fixation. This biological nitrogen fixation is done by living organisms. See, if in atmosphere this unusable nitrogen is present, then it will be converted by the bacteria. These bacteria are called nitrogenous bacteria. Examples are Rhizopus, Anabaena, Nostoc. These are the bacteria which convert this atmospheric nitrogen into a usable form of nitrogen. And this usable form of nitrogen can be absorbed by the plants, or it can get mixed into the soil. If it gets mixed into the soil, it will increase the fertility of the soil, and if it will be absorbed by the plant, it will be utilized to make amino acid, and those amino acids will be utilized to make proteins. Third is industrial nitrogen fixation. In industries also, urea and ammonium sulfate like nitrogenous substances are made for different purposes. This is called industrial nitrogen fixation. Now we will see nitrogen cycle, the cycle or the steps which takes place in the fixation and releasing of nitrogen. First is nitrogen fixation. In this step, the atmospheric and free nitrogen is converted into nitrogenous compounds with the help of the processes which I have mentioned earlier. These nitrogenous compounds in nitrogen assimilation are absorbed by the plants, and these plants, by using these nitrogenous compounds, makes amino acids, proteins and other compounds which are necessary for their survival. Next is ammonification. When these plants and the animals which have eaten these plants dies, their decomposition takes place. As a result of this decomposition, this ammonia is released. These nitrogenous compounds like amino acids, proteins are released in the form of ammonia. And then nitrification. This ammonia, which is present in the environment, is again absorbed by the plants. So there is recycling of minerals also taking place. Then denitrification. The remaining nitrates which are present in soil or water are converted into free nitrogen by some denitrifying bacteria, and this nitrogen is again released into the environment. So we have started from the atmospheric nitrogen and the cycle is now ending to the atmospheric free nitrogen. So here these are the steps of nitrogen fixation or nitrogen cycle. Now, as we have already seen the benefits of microorganisms, but we know that microorganisms also cause harmful effects. The main harmful effect of microorganism is causing diseases. So first of all, we will see diseases in animals. Most common disease in animals caused by bacteria is anthrax. This disease is caused in cattle, that is dairy animals, and it is caused by bacteria. Antibiotics are available for this disease. Foot and mouth diseases are also caused by some viruses in animals. In plants also, microorganisms cause many types of diseases. For example, bacteria causes blight of rice, citrus canker. In this type of diseases, lesions are formed on the leaves of these plants. Because of that, plants' leaves are not able to perform photosynthesis, and as a result, plant dies. Viral diseases are tobacco mosaic virus on the leaves of the potato, leaf curl in cotton, leaf roll in tomato. These are the examples of viral diseases. Fungal diseases are rust and smut of wheat. In this kind of disease, the leaves of the wheat becomes red or becomes brownish, and they stop producing performing photosynthesis. Potato blight and mildew in grapes are also fungal diseases. As humans are benefited by the microorganisms, they also are most affected by the diseases caused by the microorganisms. So different types of diseases caused in the humans because of microorganisms are: first, bacterial diseases. Some examples are pneumonia, in which water is filled in the lung cavities; tuberculosis, where lungs are swollen and breathlessness is experienced; viral diseases, polio, in which paralysis of any limb is caused; common cold, in which runny nose, watery eyes, sneezing, coughing is caused; influenza, lungs are affected; fungal diseases, food poisoning, in which vomiting, diarrhea, these headache, stomach ache, these are the symptoms of this disease; ringworm, small circular structures are formed which itches very hard; protozoan cause malaria, which is caused by mosquito bite. In this, headache and fever is caused. In dysentery, frequent motions are caused.